That's their shit, dude. They think the universe is expanding at an ever increasing rate. I don't know.
No, it's measured.
I mean, I agree
It's
with
measured.
that.
It's measured. Go look at the
Wait,
data
but
before
wait,
you.
7 inches. Why do you agree with that? Can you break it down? What's your best argument that the universe is expanding? And then if you could please give us what it's expanding into, that'd be great too.
Well, I mean, if you watch a balloon grow, you don't ask what it's. Well, it's expanding into the room, but if the universe is defined as everything there is, it's expanding into itself. So you don't really need any better definition than that. And I think.
Wait, what do you mean by
Hubble,
universe? You mean like you too? You're a part of the universe, so you're expanding?
Yeah, I am as well. I mean, if it keeps accelerating at the same rate, then eventually I will be ripped apart as well. Yeah. Matthias, you're lagging real bad.
Okay, so what's your best argument though for the expansion? Why do you believe we are in an expanding universe?
Why I
Is it
believe
just
we're.
because it looks like we're in the center?
Well, to start off, I mean, the CMB, the uniformity, heavily points to inflation, even though that's just a theoretical model. So we can't really prove inflation. And Hubble's, I mean, initial observations and detection and understanding, as well as interpretation of the redshifting that you guys were talking about, I think it's pretty solid because we see a consistent redshifting at the. I mean, if you do the same radial sort of observation in all directions, you're going to see about the same, and then you're going to see the redshifting more extreme the further out you go, and that would prove that it's expanding quicker, closer to the edges than relative to you. I mean, don't really need more than that, personally. I think that's pretty conclusive. Why do you not?
So but in your explanation, you're saying everything is expanding away from everything, right? But
yeah, just
it
like if you
looks
draw
like it's
dots
all
on a
just
balloon.
expanding away from the Earth, really, right?
Well, that's what I mean. If you draw a bunch of dots on a balloon, inflate it a little bit, and then you inflate it a lot, you're going to see that same exact effect. You're going to have it every individual dot from any point. The dots closer to it is going to move.
So the
like,
universe
slower
is
away from it.
contained. Would you agree the universe is contained, though, overall, since we
No,
have
not in
particles?
my definition. Not in my
Yeah,
definition. The universe is everything. It's not contained.
You mean like
Go ahead.
You mean like a muffin baking? Like how the chocolate chips or blueberries expand in that way?
Well, I mean, we don't really know the shape of the universe.
No, I'm not saying
so
it's
I
shaped
don't
like a
know if it
muffin. I'm
looks like a
saying
mushroom.
that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I'm saying like the balloon example. It's like the same concept, right? Like a muffin bacon. Like
I mean, pretty
it's
much.
like centers of mass. Or okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I was going to say too that it depends on your interpretation, because I've also heard about. I mean, you have gravitational redshift, and then you have like, I don't know the second one. I think it's cosmic redshift or something like that. There's a slight nuance there, but basically, you know how like light attenuates when the sun goes down.
I don't know what attenuates mean. I don't know that word.
Well, some of the other flat earthers do. So I just want to explain it to them.
Okay.
From what I understand, right? So like when the sun goes down, what are the last spectrums to go away?
Red,
right? What's the first spectrum to go away?
I thought it was green.
It's blue. Blue.
It's ultraviolet.
Or green. So it goes on the electromagnetic spectrum, right? You have blue, green, then red, right? So blue is the first one to go. Then whatever's in between in the visible light, and then the last one are like the deep reds, right? Like
Is that why at
red.
like sunrise it's like real blue instead of like red like a sunset?
So yeah, as the sun's moving away from you, you get what's called the light attenuation. That's why the spectrums start to change, because some of the other spectrums get dissolved a lot quicker, or whatever word you want to use.
Well, it doesn't. It's not the same as like any red shifting or anything like that that's going on there.
Well,
You're simply just stealing a lot of the blue light to like the day sky of the whoever's getting day at the time, right? So that's why you're only getting the red portions. They are getting a little bit more of a blue tinted
I'm talking about
Like
sunset, the golden hour, dude. The golden hour, where everything looks
yeah,
orange,
no, but
red.
that's like sunrise for somebody else, and I'm explaining where the blue light goes. It like relay scatters in the sky, and they get a blue sky, and that's why a lot of it the red remains for us.
Hey,
Right,
you don't
because
think your night sky
I'm
is
not
blue?
denying.
It's
Well, hold on,
it's
guys.
dark blue because it has less blue in it because it's
Well,
gone
hold
to
on, hold on,
someplace
hold on.
else.
I'm trying to
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
trying to make a point, guy. Yeah. So regardless of why it happens, yes, it happens, right? And I know it happens. No one's denying that. But the point is, when you look at into deep space and you see in red shifting and blue shifting, there's multiple interpretations, multiple explanations. It doesn't have to be the universe is expanding, right? So things that are farther away, the light could be getting attenuated, reason why it looks red. And things that are closer, the light that's closer is going to look blue, right? But that's just one of many interpretations. Now, I brought up the centrifugal forces. That's another one. But I think that they're you can have both, right? You can have both the light attenuation and the centrifugal forces, where you have like the things that are farther away are not only are they redshifting because of the centrifugal divergence, but also because of the light attenuation. And then things that are closer are blue, not only because of centripetal convergence, but because they're closer and the light is less attenuated.
Yeah, I
So your
understand that.
argument is,
Go ahead.
but the argument here is basically, okay, we can see one thing happening, and then we sort of see another thing happening. So there could be multiple explanations because the sun does it in a different way. So it could be that similar type of way to what we see in the universe, is what you're saying.
I'm just simply
Right.
providing other possible explanations for what we're seeing, what the
I've
data
actually
shows.
read, yeah, I've read papers on redefining redshift as light attenuation because, like, and they relate it to the idea of like, oh, I just had the word a second, Doppler shift, right? Like when an ambulance is coming towards you, you hear the noise get louder and louder, and then it passes you, and then
That's what red shifting and blue shifting is.
yeah, yeah. So it would be like light attenuation. I've seen, I know at least one paper that's trying to redefine redshift as that.
That's how it is explained
it's
in
the
like
same.
introductory when you go physics, yeah. And then they
So
go
it
on to
is light
explain relativity.
attenuation.
But what this guy's talking about is like it's scattering a lot in some sort of medium, this being the atmosphere, and that's where we see the effect that way. We know perfectly well why that happens, and we don't really see a lot of atmosphere floating around in space like that, like when
Oh,
you have
okay,
closer
okay, I
gravity
see. Yeah,
bodies.
yeah, I see what you're
So like,
saying. But if it is that light requires a medium to travel, right? Then his explanation would make more sense than yours. That light doesn't require a medium to travel because I just don't. Everything requires a medium to travel, dude.
well, it would have to be going into different, like when you make the comparison to like the sun setting, the conditions for that being the same reason in the universe would have to be so radically different. But the Doppler effect type thing, the red shifting, that is kind of what I mean, that seems to be what is happening. Wouldn't you agree? If you call that light attenuation, is that what we call it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, then I think that is what's going on, and that is what Hubble thought as well, and it's like pretty established in like physics, like mainstream physics right now, that is what's going on. Although when you really look at it, it works a little bit differently because of fucking relativity and shit. Because light when it travels supposedly doesn't experience time at all. So they say that it takes light from the sun to like 8 minutes and 20 seconds to reach the surface, but for the photon it was instant. So the moment it's born, it's just there.
Yeah, yeah.
So the Doppler effect, when it redshifts from the actual photon perspective, is like doesn't really happen that way. So you can have blue shifting where it looks like red shifting from another part of the universe. It is all relative, right? It is all depending on from where you are.
Yeah, you run into the problem when you add particles into the whole mix and everything. That's when it gets to be like a little weird. I don't think you have to. I don't think you have to think of light as a particle. But yeah, I mean, you can, I guess. I just think you run into issues with your understanding of the light. Like start saying it doesn't need mediums and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I think learning the wave model is probably more advantageous than thinking about it as only a particle.
Yo, that's my question. How do we know light is like an actual particle and not just like an excitement of like a background medium or something?
Because everything's material, bro.
Yeah,
Well, I mean,
Robert had just gotten like destroyed on the James Webb Telescope and the light traveling by this like smart flat earther and this other server. He was like really good at math, like on the fly, had all these calculations in front of him. Then he got mad about it. I guess I brought it to you guys. He goes in this circle.
well, I think it's been proven that light can't like be flowing through some sort of medium. That I think people used to call it the ether before. And I think there was an experiment. I think it was called Michelson-Morrison, where they tried to calculate to find a medium that could be, because they thought it was like ripples in that medium called the ether, and that was light.
Are,
Come on,
Scientists
Mr.
are
Morley.
are those the guys who
Yeah.
measured the like who was the first guy to actually measure the like or perceive light to travel? Were those the guys? Or?
No.
No,
It was
they
the
just tried to see if it was flowing through a medium.
Yeah, Mickelson Morley experiment's great, dude. Awesome experiment. And it's just how you interpret it. Again, they were supposed to detect motion, Earth motion, and they didn't detect any motion, dude. It's supposed to be like 30 kilometers per second. And they didn't
Well,
detect it, dude.
But they did get some
there's
kind
got
of
to be
attention.
there's got to be somebody who's actually measured light to be traveled. Like it has like where there's it's taken time. Like something was lit up and not lit up. Is there an instance of that?
Well, you can measure it from one way, right? So the only measurements have been both ways. So we don't actually know if it like travels at a totally different speed going one way and then it bounces back and it's like a different speed because we can
even
only
the
ever do a bounce.
even the double one.
The double one.
Now they know
Split.
they
No,
do
no,
know
no,
that. They do know that. They do know that
But-
because that's how they came up with the whole Lorentz contraction, dude.
No, like if I were to say to you, we
And the
know
Sagnac
if
effect.
I were to say to you, like we know the Earth's a globe because we measured sticks and shadows. Like what is the claim to fame for light travels? Like who measured it to be traveling? Like, what was the situation?
Yeah, what tool was used? Yeah, I'd also like to know what tool was used to measure the speed of light.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
guys
if I
don't
say
have
They
what
use
they,
they use the
it's
wheel,
not gonna
bro.
be enjoyable.
They use a
They
spinning wheel.
reflected it off the moon.
Stop it! Give me the real one.
I'm not. I knew I
No,
wasn't
they
gonna say
really
it
use
here.
a spinning wheel, bro. They use a spinning wheel. I don't know who the first guy was, but they use a spinning wheel, dude.
Initially,
measured
they didn't
the-
do that.
Wow.
I don't
But
know
you
the
can do it in
first
the
time.
lab now.
I can't believe flat earthers are fucking believing in putting this bullshit. Speed of light bullshit.
Well, you can just. I mean, if you really do just follow the science, but like go basic physics all the way up, you will say that this stuff that we can all agree on isn't some indoctrination. That is things that you will actually learn to understand. Oh shit, that is a true thing, right? It's not up to interpretation, anything like that. I mean, if you rewrite all other books in human history, they'll all be like if you respawn the Earth, all stories will be different, except for a science book on physics. You will always find the same patterns.
But you're going back to that Mickelson-Morley experiment. Yeah, they were to debunk the static luminiferous ether, but they didn't debunk the dynamic luminiferous ether, which is what most of the guys in here subscribe to. It's a dynamic ether. It's not a static ether.
What is a
The-
dynamic ether?
It means the Earth is motionless, right? It's static, and the ether is dynamic. The ether is moving around. Or some say the torus field seems to be
Okay, so in flat Earth, do you have something outside of the flat Earth then?
and
Because
moon
most
and the sun.
Oh.
I think he broke up there, Lai.
Not him. He broke up.
No, I didn't. I think I mean, I've been fine, right? I think it was him.
Oh, I thought you were
Or
saying.
was I lagging out?
Stop. What's outside the flat Earth, bro? Yeah, I don't make any claims of what's outside the flat Earth. I'm simply.
Oh, but that's where the ether would be, though. It would be everywhere.
Well,
but
no,
you would
because
be able to
the whole
detect it
thing's
in
the
it.
Earth, dude. The whole thing's the Earth, bro. In my worldview, so it's not like there's an outside the flat Earth. I mean,
So
the
it's not
whole
the
thing's
air?
the Earth.
And like, but what about everything inside of Earth? Is that also just the ether and everything? Is like all this thing that is moving in different ways to look different ways?
I don't believe in the scales that you guys believe in. The
I'm just
94
asking,
billion
is the ether
light
in
years
the air
across. I don't.
as well?
Yeah, I think it might be above
Yeah.
the surface and under the dome.
The ether is basically everything. Yeah, it's everything. We're submerged in it right now. Everything's in it.
And maybe the
Okay,
sun and the
okay.
moon is stirring it as they travel along its circuit or path.
Well,
Okay,
it's
I
not
can
that the sun
agree
and the
to
moon are stirring it. It could be that it's actually the whole thing is moving, and the sun and the moon are being carried by it too. I really don't know. I don't want to make any claims, but
It's like the four winds.
That's a good point.
But
That
they
could be
aren't
it.
it?
Yeah.
Are they carried by
'Cause
it, or are
if
they
you-
also part of the ether?
yeah, Mach's principle is like the whole sky is moving. The whole sky. It could be that the sun and the moon and the stars are causing the water, the ether is like this fluid that's also moving due to the sun and the moon's motion, the star's motion. But it could be the other way around.
I think I said it to Witsit before, like, because he puts it out like, oh, it's either there's two options, either the Earth is moving or the sky is moving. But then I said maybe the the sun and the moon is moving. I said maybe they're not moving. It's just the ether's moving, and that's it. I don't
Well,
know,
yeah,
maybe.
if the ether could be like a fluid that's carrying the luminaries. I mean, they're basically all look like they're moving at 15 degrees per hour already. You know, so I mean, I don't know how you would tell. You know, for
I think,
certain.
like,
So what's the what's the mechanism that moves the sun? Like the sun, I stand on the ground. The sun moves. What's moving the sun?
the
Or
ether,
what-
maybe.
Maybe I don't know. Like what fuels
So
it?
the
What
ether has a mind?
Well, it's controlled by a mind, just as everything is.
But I'm just saying, if you define the ether as everything, what difference is there from that and saying it's nothing, and then we can still calculate these little things inside of it, like photons, like all the physical laws that we see. Like if it's all carried by some thing that you call the ether, it might as well just not be there at all. It doesn't matter at that point.
No, it does matter because the physics change dramatically, and you can actually work out the physics with a substance that surrounds all of us, a cosmic ocean. You can actually explain the forces. You have an explanation for the forces.
Okay, okay, how does the like in what way will the ether form just to make it look like a rock is falling down, burning from the sky, and then land somewhere? Like what type of intentional mind controlling an ether to make it look like a ball Earth in space like that way? Why would you possibly do that?
Well, I mean, the flat Earth is another topic. We're talking about like.
I don't
Well,
think it looks
clearly
like a
part of
ball
it.
Earth in space, personally, except on the television. Like from
But
my experience of
No,
going
I'm just
around
saying.
it, it
No,
definitely
that's
doesn't
not what I
look
meant.
like that.
I understand. That's not what I meant. I meant just seeing the act of something happening that you would expect on a ball Earth in space, like a rock falling down and creating craters, or maybe like the one in Russia where it was so loud the bang that fucking windows blew out. I mean, kind of random shit just like spawn out of the ether, like some burning thing at the top, and then that goes down, and then all other predictions match up as well with that model.
You got to
Right? That would
understand,
be a very
theologically,
intentionally.
dude, we're inside of a cosmic ocean, whether you
Controlled
believe it
by
or
a
not. And
map.
so instead of a vacuum of space devoid of matter, we're submerged in a cosmic ocean, and that space has substance. It's substantive. The ether has substance.
Okay, but did you understand what I said though?
Yeah,
Like,
you're saying the ether
why
poops
would
stuff
that?
out, poops comets out and stuff, or whatever. I don't know, dude.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, but why would it do it in such a perfect way, like the way you would expect it on the globe model
What do you
for how
mean?
much it would
I don't
burn,
even.
what speed it has, and
I don't understand what you're saying. You're saying the ether
like
would make comets
meteors,
fall.
right?
I don't know what that means.
No, I'm saying specifically on a flat Earth.
Is this based on your
He's
first?
got storehouses. He's got storehouses of this stuff. There's entities above you as well. You don't know what they're doing.
Well, I mean, I would say to that, like, do rocks really fall from the sky? I mean, I have never seen that really substantiated, at least to my satisfaction. Obviously, none of us in here have ever observed that. I know that there's what they call craters on the ground. There's other theories as to what those could be, like a sinkhole that's actually being pulled down, from like pulled like electrically or something being pulled down, and not necessarily a crater hitting it. So I mean, there are other explanations for that. And I mean, the substantiation for massive rocks actually falling from the sky. I mean, have you ever substantiated that in any way other than
Well, I
like
mean,
maybe,
then you have
maybe
to.
hold on, let me finish. Other than claims, and then in addition, there also could be fakes where like the government or militaries could be dropping things or launching things or whatever to make it look like that too. So I'm just saying that all would have to be sifted out as to whether that's even a real phenomenon.
Right, yeah, but you would at least have to see the point that it looks like things like that are happening, like meteors, but something else. It could be something else in theory, like somebody
A meteor,
dropping
how
a bomb by
how about a meteor shower not fall into the? Listen, I don't really know how it all follows.
No, but
You're
do you
saying
at least?
exactly
I
like
was
when you
asking
said that
Geo as
the
well.
hello, yeah, no, but like when you said earliest that well, if everything's ether, then there's no distinction between any one thing and another thing. Therefore, why would the ether be tricking us to have things fall from the sky? Like, does that sound like a real sentence I just said?
Yeah.
Because that's what you said, and I can't really get what you're
Well,
saying.
it's just only on a flat Earth, not in like a globe model universe, like inflation world. Like on a flat Earth, why would the ether? Because if it was the ether and not somebody coming with a plane and bombing it,
What was
like
the
Geo
ether?
suggested. Yeah, the substance that controls everything, that moves the sun and the moon. Why would that compact itself into like a ball that looks like a rock that burns up in the atmosphere and goes really fast and then booms? To make it look that was my argument on a flat Earth. But if you're explaining the ether in not a flat Earth universe, then we can talk about that. But that's also been disproven in the Michelson-Morrison group. Or
Yeah, I mean, obviously the globe model claims there's rocks out in space or above us, so that would like fit that all those things are coming and hitting us. So I understand that theory, but I'm just saying there's just the one question: is it actually happening? Do rocks actually fall from above? And if they do, then there would have to obviously be a valid explanation, for like you said, an ether with a stationary planar Earth kind of situation as to why that would be happening. But I've never seen that substantiated, and obviously it is like a thing that goes along with the globe model, so it could be a little bit of a farce there that they're pushing. So I mean, that's the question: is like, is it actually a real phenomenon? But I hear you. If it is a real phenomenon, there would have to be an explanation. But I mean, if you have waters above, waters below, yeah, it wouldn't really be expected that there's like rocks up there. But I mean, you could still have rocks falling from above, like in some way. I mean, not with
absolutely. But the amount that we see it burn, the amount of radiation, the amount of heat, like the way we see it burn, then we could calculate based on the speed how much energy that would probably output, and also what size rock would probably be left. And those calculations also match up. So it's a very, very intricate lie. If they are, because they are rocks that we do see, and we can kind of track them. I don't know if you said you looked at all of the. I mean, I'm pretty sure we can do this. And then
well, you're saying we.
They would have to be shooting a rock at that speed for it to burn up in the atmosphere in the way that it does and emit the sound wave that it does. It can't just be a bomb. They have some secret flying thing then that can go really, really fast and drop a rock and then not burn up itself.
What are you
while
asking?
it
What is he
blasts out.
asking?
You guys realize an asteroid is what killed the dinosaurs, right?
See, I mean, I have a valid point there.
Yeah, so the thing is, like, when you keep saying the we and all that, I mean, I will say this thing. I know this is just kind of a general statement, but if it was real, why don't more people report, like, oh, yeah, we were walking down to go to the restaurant and we were going to my family to eat, and a huge one fell right on a car next to us? Or people finding them in their swimming pools or in their backyards, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, if they really were happening, why are they not actually observed by regular people?
Most land in the ocean because it's 70% water. And you do have some people having reported meteorite strikes. There's quite a few of them. They're on YouTube. I mean, you can, if you don't believe those videos, I don't know, but there are. It's not that common. It's pretty rare for it to happen because most of it just burns up because it's small enough.
All right. Do you have a video of somebody?
Exactly.
Do you have a video of somebody recording that, walking over to it and being like, "Here it is! Oh my gosh! There's a hot burning rock and there's a huge crater." This shit. Like, do you have any like valid video of that actually happening?
No. If you're going to talk about a meteorite that size, where they're going to go like, "Is a huge crater?" That would have been bigger news if that would have been like the one in Russia. Did you see the one in Russia where it was like that left a tiny rock left behind, nowhere near to leave a crater? If you have something that would leave like a huge crater, that would be pretty rare.
Dude, there would be like deaths every year by them hitting people if it was real. There'd be like, maybe not a lot, maybe 35 or something, maybe 33 deaths a year if them just hitting someone, just right through their head.
But that's because the conditions on Earth would allow for evolution on a planet such as that doesn't get hit that many times to evolve and be there. So obviously, you wouldn't expect it to constantly nuke our cities, right?
Guys,
we would never have survived in those conditions.
I guess my main point is that until I would want to come up with for myself, a full understanding or explanation from an ethereal framework for this phenomenon, I'm just saying I would need to see it substantiated beyond what I've seen it. And I've never seen one myself. No one in here has, I'm sure. So that's all I'm saying, is that before I would want to have to take it on of really trying to, I would want to see it substantiated that it really does happen.
Okay.
I'm sorry for bringing up the ether. We went from photons to ether. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Okay, guys. So the reason why actually that not that many asteroids hit Earth is because Jupiter has a very strong gravitational field, and so it actually most of the rocks that are like coming towards Earth actually just go towards Jupiter instead. So it like kind of protects us.
That is true.
Did you just make that up, or is that something that?
That is true. That is true.
There was a
That is the
mythology
mainstream
story. You didn't hear?
the model,
That's the
yeah.
model.
Straight up, a god is protecting the Earth from these rocks.
That's a bold claim.
Yo, speaking of rocks, is it true that the rocks that were supposedly brought back from the moon turned out to be petrified wood?
Yeah, there was one case of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the museum curator was actually watching the documentary from Bart Sibrel, and then I guess he had the idea to test the rock to see if they actually did go there.
Oh wow! It just means that there used to be trees on the moon.
Of course.
There's trees on the dark side of the moon. They're just not showing us.
I gotta look it up. Somebody told me recently that Star Trek's Captain Catherine Janeway was the narrator of Did We Go to the Moon? Now, whether their name was just Catherine Janeway or if it was the woman from Star Trek, I don't know.
Yo, Robert Jensen's got some Star Trek or somebody like that, some sci-fi lady to narrate the Principle, his geocentrism documentary. It's kind of hilarious, dude.
Definitely. It's funny. Most of the globe geeks that I've spoken with over the flat Earth and whatnot, they haven't even watched this documentary, The Principle, which is odd. I mean, a lot of people claim to like science, but maybe don't even want to explore what the latest findings in science are.
Dude, it's wild. He got all their boys in there, like all the big names, and they yeah, dude, he got Mikio Kaku. I don't know how you say his name, but yeah, man, it's some eye-opening stuff.
He's a bullshit string theorist. Who cares about him? What he has to say?
It's all theoretical physics, dude. Whether you like it or not.
It's not all theoretical physics. A lot of things are proven by experiment.
Right.
What experiment
don't shit
do
on him
the
when
stars?
he admits it's all theoretical physics.
It's funny because I just asked somebody recently, like, what was the demonstration or experiment that showed that light traveled, and they didn't have an answer.
Well, perhaps you could look at the photoelectric effect.
And then what happens?
I believe when a metal is excited or something, it emits a photon or something like that. That's like if you put electricity, it like emits a photon or something.
If you shoot an electromagnetic wave at a substance that is wavy enough to knock an electron off, it will, and then you can capture that on a sheet and take a picture.
Yeah, there you go.
So that's showing like a photon go from it. Literally, you can see it. You can see like you can see a time delay from the travel, like one A to B.
Well, following that, it's a sequence of events. There would
Yeah,
have to be time difference.
Yes.
You have to realize that these are quantum objects you're talking about. So if you want to know its momentum, you're going to lose information about its position and vice versa.
Can I ask what is a quantum object, please?
You know, like it follows the laws of quantum mechanics.
Laws of quantum mechanics. I'm not familiar with any laws regarding quantum. I thought most of quantum was still in the theoretical stage.
I mean,
It's the uncertainty
quantum.
principle.
Yeah, and that that also explains why we can. I mean, you're not gonna like this, but why we can see atmosphere heating with carbon dioxide, like in lab experiments. You can if you shine light on a box with more carbon dioxide, it heats up, and we know why, due to quantum mechanics. Because every time you excite an electron and you take a new state, it can shoot off a photon in any direction once excited, and that's why half of the infrared shoots back 50% on average when you shoot infrared light into carbon dioxide. That's why it acts as a blanket, because the heat is coming from the ground, getting captured, and then shot down.
Don't get me started on global. That's a psyop.
But that's the way it works, and that's
well,
why we know what happens on the quantum level as well.
You don't know. You're making an info. Stop saying you know things.
Lion, what's the psyop?
The global warming that we're causing global warming through carbon dioxide.
Yeah, no doubt.
Why are you focusing on that? I didn't talk about that.
So rocket.
Well, because you say we're not going to like it, and you're right, we're not going to.
But that wasn't my argument, though.
So usually,
I was just saying, if you do it in a lab in a box, you can see the same thing. The more you put in, the more infrared it traps and puts down to the ground again, right? So I'm just saying.
Yeah, I'm not denying. Yeah, I'm not denying that CO2 is a potential greenhouse gas. That's not my. And I am aware of that. But so is methane. Methane is what 7 to 10 times more efficient as a greenhouse gas.
I don't care about the environment. I'm proving a quantum mechanical point that we know the reason it shoots back down 50% of the time is because we have no fucking idea. It's fucking random due to quantum mechanics, which way the
What's that have to do with quantum?
That's why we know, and then we can see 50% of it on average going down again, and the rest is scattered in all different directions. I mean, it's like going in two parabolas randomly.
Yeah, like quantum mechanics and the ether are kind of the same thing. Usually flat earthers call it the ether and globe earthers call it quantum mechanics.
Yeah, it's like a set of all possible possibilities, and then we're somehow on one line of those.
Yeah, it's way different.
Like Sean Carroll has like the many worlds interpretation that we're living in, like the universe branches off into all possible paths. That would be like the grand ether. That would be like Stephen Wolfram's Ruliad, like the one thing that is, and it's just experiencing itself in all possible paths. That would be amazing.
But just to respond to Truth Seeker, just because they might have similarities, like quantum foam or quantum vacuum, doesn't mean that we believe in the Copenhagen interpretation of all that bullshit.
Well, you don't have to believe in it. It's been proven. Well, I mean, the interpretation hasn't been like.
Oh, really? It's been proven. That's news to me. I swore it was still in the theoretical phase.
Well, no, it's funny that you use the word proven. Like, I didn't even think science was in the business of proving. Thought they were in the business of disproving.
I mean,
well, we can prove.
You know, like when you go onto Google, when you go onto YouTube and you search up anything that says flat Earth, they come up with this little wiki blurb that says this is an archaic, antiquated model that was disproven. They don't say we proved that there's a globe. They say flat Earth was disproven. That's their scientific hypothesis. I don't think science is in the business of proving things.
They're anti-provers.
Right, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, the double split experiment shows quantum mechanics. So
how?
It's repeatable.
I said how.
It's funny that even the flat earthers, I'm not saying you're a flat earther, but I know other flat earthers that are kind of, they like the double slit experiment. They like the woo-woo, right? The quantum entanglement, the superposition, the spooky action at a distance, because it fits into the whole esoteric ideology that we're all one.
It sounds stupid to me, like on his face. That it's observer dependent. Sounds retarded.
Yeah, that matter's alive, that it's conscious. The chair that you sit on is conscious.
That would be the same thing as your ether being conscious, that we're all God sharing subjective experience.
Well, I don't
and
know
then coming
if
back
Tora
into
was
being
I don't
one.
know if Tora was trolling you or what. But I don't know if he meant it exactly that way. Yeah.
Who, me? Or
No,
Tor?
No, and Tora had said it earlier, and he's kind of been stuck on it a little bit, as if
Said
it's like
what?
unanimous. He said something along the lines of, "Well, the ether would then be dependent on a mind, or something like that." So
No,
that,
he's
so as
serious.
if
He's
it's conscious.
serious, and I
Yeah,
do believe that. But I don't think the ether is the mind. I think that
right.
the ether is the tether to the mind, right? To that sentient reference point that's located, has actual like position in the cosmos.
Yeah, I do think that there was some seriousness to it. I agree. I don't know. Tori can speak for himself, I'm sure, but I don't know. I don't know if everybody agrees that ether is a thinking thing. I don't know
No,
if
no,
that's
it's controlled. What I meant was it's controlled by a thinking thing.
That's what would be in the globe model, literally what that is, stuff. Because it would say that we are just pieces of space, time, and matter that is aware of itself, and so we would be like this ether thing, if you call the universe that, thinking and being that thing, right?
No, no,
Well,
yeah, that's where we differ. I'm not that thing. I'm just in the world observing that thing. I'm not made of that.
Yeah, well, the interesting thing about quantum mechanics is that it can actually kind of be used to prove God. Because if everything's just in a probability state without being observed, then what was the initial observer? Perhaps that
Yeah,
was
like
God, living in God's
actualizer.
experience.
Yeah.
And also, something must have created the universe. I believe that as well, because you can't have a contingency chain that is cyclical or infinite in regression. And if the universe started at some point, it must have been something outside of that reference frame, starting at a particular time, assuming that thing is eternal, which means it must have had probably some agency to create that at a particular time, and then start a contingency chain. Because if it's infinite otherwise, then that would mean the universe has just always existed and going in a cycle, and that doesn't make sense because you can't do that.
Would you say the best proof
that's right.
for that is the present moment?
I believe
Yeah,
there's a lot with the present moment.
yeah. I
Yeah,
actually
like
kind of
how do you get to the present moment without transversing an infinite amount of physical events, you know?
The significance of the passage of time. Thanks, Kamala Harris.
I actually kind of do believe we live in a cyclical universe. There was no beginning, there was no end.
But you can't do that like a contingency chain. That would mean that my phone right now is contingent upon its own future and past. And that, like, you can't do it. It's logically impossible. You can't use that as an axiom. It doesn't work.
Breaks down
You
at these
gotta
things,
have
dude. Logic breaks
what?
down. It's like trying to use physics. You got to use meta logic. Like,
You gotta have faith, faith, faith.
No, but yeah, you can't logically think of it. Then if you gotta do meta logic, then I mean
well,
that's not
like, don't you
really
think
making
God
it
exists
comprehensive.
beyond time? Don't you think God exists beyond time and space?
That's
Yes,
Yes.
I mean
that's a
that is
tough
what
one.
that says.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, so yeah, I had my own ideas on that, bro. Due to the scriptures, God, he standardized time. Like he is time. He's the great I am. Right? He is time, and time is quantifiable. It has a frequency. It has an oscillation, just like a breath, and that breath is eternal. It won't just stop. He won't just stop breathing one day. That's why he's God. So time doesn't just stop and begin and stop and begin. He set whatever happened before the universe was here. We have no idea. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. But what we do know is that if he is eternal, then he's always existed. But we can't fathom what existed before us and what's going to exist after us.
Well, one thing we do know is that entropy is always increasing. God's
Right.
trying to increase complexity.
Right. But you think that, because I know the Hindus, I think it's the Hindus, they believe in like multiple bangs, like implosion, explosion, implosion, explosion, like a cyclical cycle of life and death of the cosmos, right? Is that what you believe in?
Yeah, I believe this whole universe is just another singularity of a black hole, and it's just infinite fractals.
So how's it going to implode theoretically? If right now it's expanding, at one point is it going to crash back down, shrink back down into that infinitesimal point at the Big Bang? that they talk
No,
about.
the whole universe doesn't shrink down, but it creates a black hole at a local point, and that basically creates a new universe or a new Big Bang.
There's black holes being created all the time, though.
Wait, so there's universes inside black holes?
Yeah, that's basically what I believe. Yeah.
Oh,
That's basically the model, though. With the singularity at the beginning of time,
Yeah, but
it's a
what's your
rip in the
evidence
fabric
for
of
that
space and
belief?
time.
Sorry, Lion.
No, you good? Yeah. What is your evidence for
I
that?
thought
I
black
don't
holes
really
were
have
in the
it.
universe. I had no idea universes were. You could just switch that around.
Well,
Well,
I
it
mean, I don't
depends how
really
big
have.
the.
This is more
Go
like
ahead.
a spiritual belief and like a metaphysical belief rather than like a, a thing I have evidence for.
But it's all
It
using
depends how big the
material.
black hole.
Sorry, go ahead, Lon.
It just depends how big the black hole is because they got different sizes of black holes, and apparently, he's saying that if you get a really really big one, our universe will get sucked in and disappear. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying each time a new black hole forms, that's basically a new Big Bang.
Yeah,
But
there's
then the
like
question
universes,
arises,
Not in their model. Not in
universes
their model.
before this one, and universes after this one. Like there's like a ton of universes. Like this was created from another universe, is what you're saying.
yeah, exactly. It's like universes within a universe.
What's a universe mean though in that sense then?
I guess
Like,
it just means like a realm.
and so what is the whole thing called? Like all like
Well, I
they're
think it's
all
actually a
the
crystal. There's actually 12 dimensions. And so I think there's actually 12 levels of black holes. And then once each realm or like each universe is completely in alignment,
would that
something
be the
happens.
firmament? It's like a crystal.
Yeah, exactly. I think it becomes like a crystal. And then once it's in perfect alignment, you become one with God.
I
And
feel
that's
like
basically,
you're just softball Q up me right now.
well, I mean, that's basically the challenge that God created for itself. It just put itself inside of a universe and reincarnated itself infinite times.
So what initially went bang?
Well, I think it all started with the tree of life.
There was a
Consciousness,
tree.
or the flower of life, consciousness expanded into a circle or a sphere, and it created the flower of life, and then Metatron's cube, and then all these patterns created the Platonic solids.
Wow, dude, I knew you were gonna go there.
Yeah, basically everything is all vibration. Like none of this is actually real. This is all God's dream.
But yeah, most of this like this ideology came from Eastern mysticism, dude. I was talking about it the other day. I don't know if it was in here in Omni server, but I think it was Omni server. Yeah, a lot of these scientists, dude, they believed in both the Vedic, they looked into the Vedic text, the Zohar, and the Kabbalah, bro. Which there's a lot of similarities in like the superposition, the duality, the Sephiroth, sacred geometry. It's pretty insane stuff, dude. Like there could be some truth to that, but at the same time, like where do you draw the line, man? You'll get lost in that stuff. Gematria and Kabbalah, dude. Like, really, that's what you want to subscribe to, bro? Kabbalah?
Well, you really think God would create such a simple universe? Like uncovering the secrets of the universe is part of the fun.
I'm saying, like, but why not just, I don't know, whatever. It's all good, bro. Teach them, dude. I'm not going to criticize you for it, but.
So you're saying
That's,
like he knew everything and then he created everything and then he's in a part of everything, but he has no idea where he is because he's so separated into so many parts or something?
Yeah, exactly. And that's called the illusion of separation.
Consciousness
Yeah, like
formed a flower and then went boom, basically, right?
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Energy, consciousness.
The only thing I can kind of like, I guess, relate to is that I got this, was it cucumber or zucchini plant growing out here, and this thing just like reaches for the other stuff. Like it just intentionally knows where another tree is and finds it and wraps around it and grows up it. It's kind of weird. It's like it's got little arms. So I don't know. I thought like something could express itself in some way. I don't know. It's got really pretty flowers too. Really big orange, yellowish flowers.
You know, it says in the Bible, do not look for God in the world, look for God within.
it doesn't say that in the Bible, dude.
The Bible says
I mean,
that
as far as I
creation
know.
testifies
As far as
to
I know.
God. It says that like basically that you'll see God through creation.
Hey, what's that?
Yeah.
Working on that old bitch.
A lot of traffic, eh?
Yes, the Harley funeral, the Hell's Angels funeral.
The tree of knowledge of good and evil, that's what created creation. It's called the knowledge of good and evil because they believe they know something, but it's really a false knowledge or a false separation because good and evil cannot exist without each other. And that's where duality came into existence, or like the universe, or like the physical world. And that's
Yeah,
why
I disagree with that.
I'm trying to
Vehemently
follow,
disagree
man.
with that.
You're saying that the consciousness recognized good and evil, and then
yeah.
things were created. Okay.
Well, they believed that they had knowledge, but it was really a false knowledge, right? Because good and evil, like they think they know these things as if they're two separate things, but they can't exist without each other.
That's not true at all. That's hermeticism. That's a hermetic principle. It comes from the Eastern philosophy, the yin yang. That in the white part of the yin yang, there's a little bit of black, right? A little bit of evil in the white, and in the black, there's a little bit of good. So both good and evil have a little bit of each other, right? And they can't exist without each other, and they have equal potential, according to Hermes, right? That's biblically inaccurate and extremely conflicting.
Yeah, the God of the Bible is like explicit enemies of the gods that teach this idea. The scripture says that God is good, like his nature is inherently good. There's no evil thing in him, and that when you rebel from him, that's what evil is. So the definition of sin, according to scripture, is to transgress God's laws, and that's what evil is.
Yeah, there's no darkness in him. There's no wickedness in him. There's no unrighteousness in him. He's purely good.
Well, there's everything in him. God is everything,
Negative.
the Alpha and the Omega.
Negative.
So he's the creator in the scriptures, right? And he creates things, and he has an order, and he has ways. And when you just say, "Nah, I'm not going to do that," that's evil. That's what evil is. He gave you the free will to choose that, but evil is not like even the demons. He didn't actually create the demons. The demons exist because the angels took women, broke his laws, did things they weren't supposed to do, and these beings were birthed out of it. So it's like it's explicit. I mean, you can have that philosophy, but to apply it to the Hebrew scriptures is completely wrong.
The truth of the matter is they don't have equal potential. They're not in equal standing whatsoever. The non-contingent creator of all things, the prime mover of all things, the source of all things, the necessary reference point for all intelligibility. He's not contingent on evil by any means. He's not contingent on darkness by any means. And he actually triumphs over darkness. And we know that love triumphs over hate, that good triumphs over evil, and that light triumphs over darkness. This idea that they're equal, the equal potential is bullshit. And you don't need to be a rocket science to know that. Rocket science to know that.
Like murder doesn't need to exist in order for me to understand like the value of life.
Love always wins in the end, brother.
It's like dark. It's like light. Dark is an absence of light, right? Or cold is an absence of heat. I don't know. Actually, let me not go down that rabbit hole. I don't know if that's analogous.
0 Kelvin scientifically, then you can deal with cold.
Say it again.
Once you get down below 0 Kelvin, 0 and below, scientifically that's cold. You can call it cold then, but above that, we're just transferring heat.
Word.
Yeah, like hot and cold is the same thing. It's just high heat and low heat.
No, I'll explain. It's very easy to understand, right? You can still have pressure mediation. You can still have convergent and divergent forces, right? They don't have to be, one doesn't have to be evil. Cold doesn't have to be evil, right? Now, in a reality, theoretically, you could still have a gradient from 1 to 100 and never devolve into the evil, which would be negative, right? So below 0, -1, -2, -3, infinitely evil. You never have to go to the negative, and you can always be in good standing with the creator and righteous from 1 to 100 and never have to ever evolve to the negative or devolve to the negative, right? Now you'll never be you'll never be in God's 100%. Like that's why he's God, right? He's the most high for a reason. You're never going to reach 100% in potential, right? That's God. That's unique to God, right? But you can still be 95. You can still be 50 and not be considered evil. You can still have that gradient and not be considered evil. So you can still have dynamic range. Like you can still have color, the whole color spectrum, and never devolve into blackness. And white is actually all the colors combined. Black is lack of color. You never need to go to the black. You can have all the colors and all the dynamic range and be cool.
That's racist, dude.
Yeah, you can still have contrast and not have to go to the black.
I don't think it works like that for paint, though. I'm pretty sure if you take all the paint colors and mix them all up, you're not going to end up with white.
Yes,
You get purple. You get
Yeah,
purple.
it's different.
right.
The light spectrum, like is red, green, and blue, but with painting, it's like yellow. It's different. Yeah. There's a term for that concept.
Paint's already got all the light in it, dude. That's the crazy part of it. That's why you see that color.
When you see a color, if it is reflected, and it depends on what the object is as to what color it reflects and the properties it has.
Do you know how they found the UV spectrum? This guy doesn't get credit for it. I don't know why, but Newton found out there was a UV spectrum because he was putting a crystal in front of the sunlight and being like, oh shit, this is neat. All these colors. He wanted to check the temperature of the colors. You know what I'm saying? How hot is blue? How hot is the red one? So he put one just off to the side a little bit as like a control variable. And he was like, what the fuck? Because he had it in where the UV was going. That's crazy, right?
That's crazy.
That's my favorite control variable of all time right there. Hands down. Name a better control variable.
Something that's there that you cannot see, but it's there.
Jeremy, someone asked earlier how they got the speed of light, and I thought you'd know that one. Or like who is like. I think the question was proposed by Notex. It was like, we got sticks and shadows. That's how we proved it was a globe. So like, what's the main story? Like how we proved the speed of light?
The guy measured the first measurement of it was supposedly they measured the Jupiter's moon occulting, and then it measured it 6 months later. And that's the guy that I forgot his name, but that's how. If you Google like who first measured the speed of light, that's like the Jupiter moon story.
Ole Romer.
What's his name?
Ole, O-L-E, or however you pronounce it, and then Romer. And I think it was back in the 15 or 1600s or something. And I think he was using candles later on. Now, I don't know exactly how that could be measured, but especially back then, or even today. But they say that radio frequencies and radio waves move at 99% of the speed of light. I'm like, okay, well, I don't know about that either. Seems pretty fast.
Convenient.
Yeah. And in regards to Newton finding out the light spectrums, I think as far as I know, yeah, he had the sun and he was basically magnifying that into a prism and then seeing the outcome of these different colors.
Yep. And he first recorded only 5. Turns out, evidently, he was colorblind.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But then, anyway, he changed it to 7. I guess, he found out he was colorblind. It's a good way to find out. And somebody else is seeing different colors than you are.
Quick little side note to that. Do you guys know why? I don't use Facebook, but I've been on there. Do you know why Mark Zuckerberg chose the color blue for the background and like the theme color of Facebook?
Because lizards can't see red.
Well, blue's a popular color. It makes you feel some sort of way. We were just talking about this the other day with red and yellow with the fast food because yellow makes you hungry and red like enforces the other color. But why did he make it blue?
Because he's colorblind. He can't
But a lot of
distinguish the
companies
differences.
do blue though because it does something. The color blue makes you
Right.
feel some sort of way or something. I forget what it is.
Well, it was green at the beginning, and then everyone was saying, "Oh, it's not like a." He was just basically giving advice, like, "Yeah, you need to switch it to blue." He's like, "I can't tell the difference," so now it's blue.
Yeah, the blues, man. You don't know that feeling?
Yeah, like the little story behind the F of Facebook, like the idea of like I guess it's like or at one point it was like a line with the 2 balls as representative of the F outside of the line, and it's like that old thing of like tubal cane, like you ever heard of tubal cane?
Yeah.
Nope.
It's a Masonic password.
Right. So like tubal cane. That's why you'll see like 2 balls in a cane. So that's like what the Facebook thing was supposed to represent. It was like 2 balls in a cane, and that's like the tubal cane.
Yeah, I just posted it in the text. Are you talking about this? That like there's just their handshake, and then Yeah, that symbol. It's kind of.
Let me see.
I just spam that shit out. My bad, Gio.
Just scroll up a stand.
But that's the color blue right under your thing after.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. So Tubal Cain, and like, yeah, it's just interesting.
I forget why they honor him though. Tubal Cain. They pay homage to him for some. There's a reason why. I just can't remember. Does anybody remember?
Like this, I'll tell you one of the theories why is because like everything in the Freemasonry thing is all about the phallic worship because like the search for Osiris's missing member. So like the Tubal Cain is obviously the the phallic members.
Many corporations use blue in their branding due to its association with trust, reliability, and professionalism. Blue is often perceived as a calming and dependable color, making it a popular choice for businesses aiming to convey a sense of security and stability. So I'm saying these cut like everything they do there's something to it. It's not just like random.
Yeah, dark blue, as an example, is synonymous to like when it gets into twilight and then dark at night. And dark blue actually has been proven through art and through different types of tests that calms people down and helps them go to sleep. Yeah, color is a very fascinating thing to get into. It's and there's 7 colors in the light spectrum, 7 colors in the rainbow, and it's super weird how you can mix the different colors and all of a sudden you can get these like aqua or something like that. Everyone sees in color unless they're completely like a dog. Apparently, they can see in black and white. But I don't know if that's true or not. I'm not a dog.
Yeah, how do they know that? Like, how do they? I mean,
I don't think that's true. I think I recently learned that wasn't true, or like really like a week ago, saw something about it. I don't know.
I think they might know by looking at their cones in their eyes. Probably tell, but I don't know.
When I was taking a biology course in high school, one of our first time we had to dissect a frog, and then we also had to dissect a cow's eye, and we had to take out the the eye, and then we had to shine a light through it and see like, oh, how do the cows see? It's like I don't fucking know. It doesn't make any sense to me. Like, oh, or can you look at it? It's like one eyeball to another eyeball, or a camera to an eyeball. It doesn't make any sense. But this is the kind of the stuff that they tell you as you're growing up, and you're naive to the information. But a lot of people are susceptible to this information because, oh, that's cool. I just learned something new, but it could just be completely wrong. So I don't know the answer.
You ever been told that we dream in black and white, but we definitely don't dream in black and white?
No, I don't.
I don't know what they're talking about.
I'm not even sure I ever have. You even think of a time you have dreamt in black and white?
No, but they used to say somebody. I don't know who used to say that, bro. I swear I heard it from a professional. Maybe it's an urban myth.
And then there's also.
I will say dreams feel.
Go ahead.
No, my bad. Go ahead.
There's a little delay. I was gonna just say. Well, say your thing on the black and white. 'Cause I was just gonna say people say that you never see your cell phone or like a computer screen in a dream, and I have. So it's like another thing people say, like you never see your phone screen, or like a computer screen.
Yeah, I think I've seen stuff like that in dreams too. But I will say there's dreams that some of them feel very vivid and real, but some of them feel like not black and white, but like sepia or like washed out, faded in a way, like not as vibrant and bright as real life. But not black and white. I don't think I've ever had a black and white dream.
Do you ever see reoccurring characters in your dream?
Yep.
Yes.
And here's another dream thing. Dreams are also, there's an entire field of psychology that's dedicated to just dreams and how the human brain works. And one thing that I've heard from my aunt, and I've also heard people here on Discord say it and other places, is that you cannot see your own reflection in a mirror in a dream. But then again, I've never experienced that, so I'd say, okay, sounds legitimate.
Nah, I have.
Okay.
Twice, at least twice that I can recollect.
And then there's the lucid dreaming.
Yo, dude, I said quickly yes that I had seen recurring characters. I actually can't think right now, but I've definitely had recurring dreams, like the same dream several times. Sometimes they're disturbing, but I do know recurring characters in the dreams are a thing. I had this really bizarre dream one day of a like I saw my old job, and over a horizon of trees, I saw this giant airplane, this giant cargo-looking airplane going, and it was flying and flying, and then it looked like it sort of it just stopped flying. Like you could see that it was about to free fall, and it slowly fell, and then you hear a boom, and then a cloud of smoke appears over the horizon, and then I woke up, right. And so what's weird about this is I remember it was extremely vivid, and I found a YouTube video of a military plane crashing in the exact same way, dude. It was, and the smoke went up just like my dream, and dude, all of the comments in the comment section were like, "Yo, I had a weird dream like this. Yo, I had," and then like 100 replies saying, "Yeah, me too, me too." And dude, it's gone now. I can't find it. It's like deleted. Like I think I found the video, but this specific video with that comment section is like wiped. Like what the heck was that, dude?
Maybe that itself was a dream.
No, dude, I'm 100% certain that happened. Like I literally had seen the video and I went back to it a couple times with that comment section, but now I can't find it. Like I'm sure this happened. Like it's just weird, man. Weird stuff like that. I used to be an atheist, man, before weird stuff like this started happening.
Yeah, man. The only time I see myself in a dream, though, in the mirror, both times was bad, dude. First time, I was in my apartment, walking down the steps, dude. At the bottom of the stairs, there's a mirror on the wall, dude. My actual apartment that I used to live in. And I looked at myself in the mirror, dog, in my dream. And I looked like the living dead, dude. Like I was literally a zombie. And it was freaky as shit, dude.
Dude, I saw in the mirror once in my dream. I woke up immediately. Shit started going crazy. But that didn't even happen to me until I looked into an infinity mirror when I was on vacation once. You guys ever look into one of those? That's fucking creepy.
Nope.
Yeah. When I was young, I used to be fascinated.
So here's something I was told to actually do. I've never done it, but other people do. Is if you have a dream, the best way to remember that and to sort of recall it is to have a dream journal, like right there on your nightstand by your bed or something. And then as soon as you wake up, that those are going to be very vivid type of dreams. Like a dream from 5 years ago, I have no clue.
Yeah, and
But
you're supposed to like.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to add for Tora. Hey, Tora, I build infinity mirrors at my work a couple times.
No, but Andrew, I was gonna say too, yeah, like you're supposed to not really move much too, like after you wake up. You know, instead of like getting up, going to the bathroom, getting your journal, finding a pen. You know what I mean? You're supposed to have your journal like right there, and then try to not move very much to keep your body as still as you can. Just because to like retain the dream more.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Dude, I've had dreams that literally like occurred like later, like with specific detail. Like I have a family member that we found out my grandfather had a kid out of wedlock, right? And my mom ended up meeting like basically her sister that she didn't know she had. And I had this dream that this woman's husband came and visited us. And dude, it like literally happened exactly. Like it was a mundane example of a conversation, mundane detail of something he was describing. He was talking about how his daughter is a surgeon, and that detail sparked the dream. And I remembered it immediately. I almost jumped up and said, yo, I dreamed this, but I didn't want to freak nobody out. So when it was over, I brought it up to my mother. I was like, dude, like, do you remember me saying that I dreamed that Kimberly's husband came to meet us? And it was freaking weird, dude. Like, why would I remember? Like, why would I dream that? And it happens. Like, exactly. The exact conversation.
Yeah, the dream topic can get a little weird because some people are like, oh, you want to hear this dream I had the other day? And it's like, not really. But when it comes to, that's my opinion. It's like some people just want to go overboard with it. But I have noticed that all the dogs and cats that I've owned over the years, and also I had a ferret and things like that. And if you watch them while they're sleeping and you're not disturbing them, you know they're dreaming versus not dreaming because you can actually like see their muscles tensing up. We don't know what they're dreaming about, but it's not just humans. I just want to like, do fish dream? Like, do eagles dream? Probably, but that goes into a very deep neuroscience pathology type of a study. It's very difficult to comprehend because I mean, there's a lot of movies that are made about this, and the best one that I can think of at the moment would be either Minority Report, where they put you into like this solid dream, where they like reorganize the way that your brain comprehends things, and also Inception.
Inception. Do
Yeah,
we need the
a dream
Inception
within a
machine?
dream.
Well, that's too deep. You only need to go one layer deep. But I feel like if we had that machine or the lucid dreaming machine from the Jetsons or something like that would like people would just be happier. I feel like because you could like bug out and do all the wild shit in your dream.
Yo, dude, when I was in high school, a buddy of mine came in. Like we used to chill in this one hallway, and that's where all my friends would gather in the morning. One day, my boy comes in, and he's like freaked out. And he's like, "Oh, it's so good to see you guys." And I was like, "What?" Like we saw you yesterday. He was like, "Dude, I just had this freaking dream that lasted like years." And the way he described it was like literally he was getting up and living life for years. And then he freaking woke up and it was the next day. And it sounded nuts, but my brother, dude, had the same thing happen, but it wasn't years. It was like a couple of months. He literally had this like whole relationship with a girl, and it lasted like it was like a serious, detailed thing that lasted like a couple months worth of time in the dream. But it was actually just like an overnight thing. Has anybody heard any crap like that? That's wild to me.
Not quite like that, but the only time I can super inform myself and remember, which is just, it's mind blowing to myself, and I can't prove it to anyone. But back when I was maybe 12, I was playing Mario 3, and I just couldn't get past this one part of the game. I was playing it all fucking day long, and then I had a dream about how to solve it, and I was like, was that real or not? But then I went and played Mario 3 again on this one little level, and it was like, it was done. I was like, how did that happen? I have no idea how it worked, but it did. I had a dream about it. It was almost like psychic abilities or something. I am not claiming psychic abilities exist, but it seems to be the closest thing that I've ever experienced in my life. And aside from that, never happened again, as far as I know.
This dude got a prophecy about how to beat Mario 3. No, that's cool though, dude. I believe it.
Yeah, I had
Well,
a
I've heard
lucid
about other
dream.
people saying the same thing, such as like they're going through something in their life, and what it does is it activates the subconscious, like the creative subconscious of our brain. There's the 4 sections of the brain as far as they're categorized, and then we have the subconscious and the creative subconscious, which only occurs when you're asleep.
I had a lucid dream once. I don't know if you guys remember back in like the late 90s who Jenna Jameson was. I manifested her. I manifested her in
porn.
my
Here we
dream,
go.
bro. I'm just saying, like, I don't know. I've only had a lucid dream like a handful of times.
Did she knock on your door in the morning and like, I'm here now?
Nope.
No, that probably didn't happen.
I've only ever had one lucid dream in my whole life. I actually
You
looked in a
sure
mirror.
about that, dude? You sure about that, dude? Just one, bro?
Well, I thought I had a bunch of
Dude,
lucid
it's
dreams
not easy,
before.
dude.
Yeah, I thought I was having lucid dreams before, and then I had a real lucid dream, and then I realized the other ones were fake.
Yeah,
Saw that
like it's
fluoride.
not like you should say it's all that fluoride.
It gotta be, dude. I can't understand how he only had one, dude.
Bro, some people have 0.
Lion, though, you're like an anomaly with your dreams, dude. You have some wild freaking dreams.
No, but I really do think it's the fluoride, dude, in the water. It's gotta be something.
Yo, I mean, to be fair, like the claim about fluoride is it does something to the pineal gland, and that is where melatonin is produced, which is the sleep hormone. And it's also, it's like created through serotonin. Serotonin is a precursor to I don't know. So yeah, you could be onto something, dude.
And sleeping is the only time that you can heal and grow.
Yes, it's the land of milk and honey.
So what? Tell us. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Tell us what you've seen in your lucid dream.
Oh, it wasn't even that special. I was in a library, and then I can't even remember. Like, I think something weird was happening in my dream, and like I was like, "This is too weird to be real." And then I was like, "Wait, I'm dreaming." And then I realized I was lucid, and then I was like, "Okay, well, what should I do? What's something everyone does?" So I was like, "Okay, I should look in the mirror." And then I looked in the mirror. It was actually pretty normal. Like my face was completely normal. I was expecting it to be like really weird.
Wow.
Yeah.
You should have picked up a book or something from there. You're probably in the Akashic records, dude. So you
Yeah.
want to look in the mirror,
Yeah,
dude.
I
Oh
was
my
in the library.
goodness. Unbelievable, dude. You had the one chance. Just to want to look in the mirror. No, I'm just messing with you.
Is there something specific that like classifies a lucid dream, like other than just realizing you're in a dream? Like I know that the practice people actually like intentionally.
It's just realizing that you're dreaming, dude. Basically,
dude.
Realizing that you're experiencing a dream.
Yeah, you're in control of your dream.
Yeah, so that's the thing. I'll realize I'm in a dream, and I can't necessarily. I can kind of control it like a little bit when I realize it, but I'm like once I become aware, it's like too late, and I'm already like about to wake up because it's weird.
Yeah, that's usually what happens.
step one is just realizing that you're dreaming, dude. Because a lot of times you don't realize you were dreaming until you wake up, dude. And it's like weird. Like you're just like going. It's like a movie's playing and you're living it. And then you wake up like, oh man, that was a weird dream. But a lot of times, if you realize you're dreaming, dude, you're lucid right there. As soon as you realize you're dreaming and you're still dreaming, bro, and you haven't woken up yet, you're lucid from then on.
Yeah, I've had that plenty of times, dude.
Well, there's another part of dreaming that people always forget about, and that is daydreaming. And certain people do this, and the best example I can give at the moment are chess players, like grandmaster chess players. They'll stare at the board, and sights and sounds basically are gone from their normal perception. They're looking at the board, and all of a sudden, a certain part of the brain activates, and it is reminding them of all these different practice examples in previous games they've played. And it's a very true thing. Ask any chess player. I've done it. It's a real thing. There's something weird that happens with the human brain where, yeah, you'll daydream, and people are just like they're zoning out. The pupils change, and they're non-responsive for a little bit until you like slap your hands in front of them, like, hey, what the fuck is going on? And then all of a sudden they snap out of it. But it's a real thing that happens.
You're saying I got disciplined as a youngin. I'd be bored in class, and get rode up and what they write, daydreaming to the point where I had to have a diagnosis, and it went from everything from petit mod to epilepsy. Yeah, that was, I guess, what they had back when I went to school.
It's common, dude. A lot of kids have that. They're just bored with the study or whatever, and the daydream, or it could be some type of vitamin deficiency too. A lot of times they stop eating breakfast, trash breakfast, Cheerios and stuff, and then they can focus all of a sudden. Wow. Like the artificial food colorings and stuff, like Red 40 and all that stuff causes that. Allegedly, problems with focusing in class.
Yeah, allegedly, the IQ across the nation on average dropped considerably after adding lead to the fuel. Might just be a coincidence, though.
Anybody else got something for us? The second time I see myself in a dream in the mirror, it was also a nightmare. I was in an apartment. It was dark. It was a frat house or something. I don't really know, dude. But it was dark. It was in the bathroom with the lights off, dude. I look in the mirror and I see myself. The door of the bathroom was cracked open, so there was still a little bit of light. Where I looked at myself, dude, and all of a sudden there was like this tumor on my neck that decided to grow in my dream, dude. I started freaking out. But I also looked like I didn't look healthy, dude. I didn't look good. People say don't look in the mirror when you're doing acid either. For whatever reason, but
there's a lot of symbolism in dreams. Maybe a tumor on your neck could represent your throat chakra is closed.
Oh my god, dude, you're freaking me out, dude.
The
reason I say that is because now
I talk heaps.
I talk
well
a lot,
open.
right? I've actually gotten signs from I believe from the creator about my tongue, right? Not being good, like being unhealthy. Because I've had dreams where I spent like the whole night pulling shit out of my mouth, dude. It just kept coming out and coming out and coming out like weeds coming out of my mouth, dude. And I'm pulling them and puking them up, dude. Like it felt like for hours, dude.